In the case of Peter Obi and the Obedient is that they are controlling him, he's not controlling them. That's the difference.
All right. Welcome back, my people. Thank you so much for stopping by. So, my people, here is Daniel BWALA. You guys know that he was a spokesperson to Atiku Abubakar, but right now he is the spokesman for Tinubu. Wonder they say shall never end. So, right here, he said that Peter Obi does not have control over obedience. That is obedience that are telling Peter Obi what to do. Knowing fully well that obedience and good people of Nigeria were kind of ready to go out there on the street, protest, scatter, like do everything after the outcome of the 2023 election. But it was Peter Obi that calmed them down and told them, let's follow due process. In fact, obedience, they listened to Peter Obi and do exactly what Peter Obi said. So this man saying that is obedient, that is controlling Peter Obi, I don't know what he is talking about, honestly. If you know the antecedent of Daniel BWALA, like, he doesn't have any moral justification to talk about obedience and the Peter Obi. And he also talks about Peter Obi forming an alliance with El-Rufai for the 2027 election, which for me is impossible mission. Let me allow you guys to watch this interview in full, especially if you're obedient. You will love to listen to what this man said. I will be right back, my people.
And so if they have stake in the Labour Party, they want to be part of what is happening and determining what is happening there. Now, if you follow that trend, then it will be clear, if you've been following trajectory of events, that you will know that they are going to make two things possible. One, they want to make the presidential ticket as not automatic. That means Peter Obi will have to struggle for that ticket like every other person. Number two, the movement and the overbearing interference of the quote-unquote a set of people called the obedient in the management of affairs of Labour Party is causing increasing uneasiness on the part of the members of the Nigerian Labour Congress, because they do not think anybody else matters, anybody else is meaningful, anybody else suggestion. In fact, you would have even been hearing them saying they don't even believe in party, that Peter Obi is everything. And so when you look at the activities of Governor Nasir El-Rufai in the last few days, it feeds into the narrative. For example, on the 11th of December 2023, he was reported to have visited President Muhammadu Buhari. On the 14th of December, he visited General Babangida. On the 24th of December, he visited former President Olusegun Obasanjo. On the 21st of March, he visited the National Secretariat of the Social Democratic Party. And so it's leading to that narrative. In fact, the rumors we're hearing is that a former president of Nigeria is the one that is trying to create the marriage between Peter Obi and El-Rufai to run on that. Now, if Peter Obi is going to lose a place in Labour Party, the only realistic party he will go to, of course, is the Social Democratic Party. I'm also aware that there have been conversation around forming alliance to dethrone Tinubu, but that alliance is not working, because so far, especially from the part of Labour Party, they maintain the position that any alliance that will not project Peter Obi as the presidential candidate is not what they are prepared for. And you know, fundamentally, the problem with Labour Party and Peter Obi is that Peter Obi is a sui generis. He's trying to model his political activism like that of Donald Trump. Unfortunately for him, he lacks that capacity that Donald Trump has. Because if you look at the marked difference between Donald Trump and himself and his obedient people, is that Donald Trump controls his base. He tells them what to do. They take cues from him, and their unalloyed support to Donald Trump makes them forgive, like, for example, his overbearing activities. In the case of Peter Obi and the obedient is that they are controlling him, he's not controlling them. That's the difference. Donald Trump controls his base and control the narrative.
You know that this is a man that has run for president on the Labour Party. For you to now say that they control him, he doesn't control them, perhaps some people will find that offensive. Don't you think that this is a man with a unionism that can bring out El-Rufai and Peter Obi together to run and wrest power from your party? Should I call it your party now? The APC. That is a formidable force that the APC should be afraid of.
No, it's the, I will come to it to tell you that this is not going to move President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and I'll give you reasons for that. But let me address that first point. Anybody who thinks it is offensive, I think the person is disingenuous, because We speak to facts and we speak to data. Now, what do I mean by what I said? If you recall, in the build-up to the 2023 election, Peter Obi's base, called the Obedient, attacked one pastor in Lagos on whose platform Peter Obi gained prominence. You know, they used to have a yearly program where Peter Obi will go and speak. The pastor, I think it's Pastor Yemade also, the pastor said something to correct a particular notion about the movement. The Obedient attacked him. If you also recall, there was a time that group called the Obedient, because to me, the Obedient is a cyberbullying department of the Labour Party, while the Nigerian Labour Congress is the trade union department of the Nigerian Labour Party. Now,
I know them cyberbullying. I know them as people just expressing their grievances to the Nigerian state because of the failure.
Let me be very frank. Let me be very frank with you. I follow trends, right? If you go to Twitter, that is now known as X, you can follow trends of political activities in the United States and watch the engagement of the base of Donald Trump. You can do so in all other political climates in the world. None is so vicious, so cyberbullying like the Obedient. If you say a word that they are not comfortable about, they are not economical, there is no word they cannot say against you, including threats to your life. This is a fact. It's not like a conjecture. It's a documented fact. So, and this is what they use. Peter Obi was asked, that's what I was trying to drive to. Peter Obi was even asked to call his Obedient to order. I recall very vividly when he was interviewed, either on one of the TV stations, and he said that he doesn't have control over what they say. That in fact, he said, when a people are so dissatisfied with the status quo, you cannot control how they express themselves. I think he said something to that effect. That means you don't have control over them. And what I mean by control, I'm not talking about controlling their thought, but if you are influential, if they consider you a hero, if you say this is not a standard procedure, or this is not a conduct that I think my movement should be involved in, they should be able to listen. As I'm talking to you, Mr. Gimba, you can by yourself go online and say something to the effect of correcting a notion of Peter Obi and watch the comment. Not palatable. I'm not talking about people who are going to be constructively engaged to talk about intellectual things. No, it is abuses, insult, curses, and threats. These are what they do. Funny enough, let me be very honest with you. There are people who are supporters of Peter Obi, but they are not obedient. And that you have to give respect to them. There are obedient also that are not militant in cyberspace. You have to give it to them. But majority of the people you call obedient have come to identify with the concept of obedience to exemplify or depict the idea is that they are prepared for anybody, including cyberbullying, threat to life, and everything. That's why they are going nowhere in 2027. Nobody in this Nigeria will win election by cyberbullying.
If I may just budget, 2027 is the focus here now. In every election, presidential election year, preceding that, there has always been this case of a third force that is coming through. You being a youth, and the youths and their mindset now in Nigeria would suggest to anyone who's been watching to the political space that the youths are actually looking for a party or someone they can rally behind for soccer to improve their well-being and livelihoods. I know that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's reform agenda is just unfolding. This is just barely a year. But how do you get those younger Nigerians that make up the 65% of youths to, join the bandwagon of the APC? Do you think that is very likely if we should have a third force emerge in favor of the youths?
Let me tell you, that concept of youth as a third force is what I call third-party economy. It is some people who just build the economy around it. Every election cycle, they come up with that concept. They are not serious about it. There are young people in APC, there are young people in PDP, there are young people in Labour, there are young people everywhere. They have every right to express themselves in their political party. Just because a candidate running for a certain post in a political party is advanced in age does not suggest that that party is identified with old age. That's the point we try to make it clear. Because if the idea of Labour Party hinged on the fact that they were looking for young person or you to lead the movement, nobody comes to mind first than Sowore. Sowore would have been the person they should rally round. Sowore has been one of the pioneers, if not the pioneer, whose movement led to the enactment of that legislation you hear, not too young to run, or some of the concept around not too young to run. Sowore did that. And Sowore played a pivotal role. Sowore, young, vibrant, whose media company at the time was very pivotal in the dethronement of President Goodluck Jonathan. Did they rally
But
around
when
him?
it to the votes and counted, he scored terribly low.
That's the point I'm saying, that if the base, if the masses, if the people we call the young generation are actually looking for youth, Sowore stands tall and taller than Peter Obi. Because when you talk of, is Peter Obi less than 40 years? What is the definition of you within the present or within the premise of what we talk about in Nigeria today? It is just a facade. They use that as a smoke screen. Go around the world. The leader of the most advanced democracy in the world today is Biden. How old is he? The person challenging him and likely to dethrone him, how old is he? And this is the most advanced country of the world. Then you all go to other countries where you see younger people, they become president and they did nothing. Now, revolutionary in Africa, we just saw yesterday, somebody from Senegal emerged and he's 44 or less than 50 years. Now, the fact that a young person takes over the reign of power is one. Whether you are able to do something is capacity, and capacity is not limited, restricted, limited or restricted by age. So I am saying that those who want to support Peter Obi should say we are supporting him because we think he has A, B, and C capacity. Stop that facade saying it's because he's younger than other candidates. Because if I take you to Anambra, where Peter Obi governed when he was relatively younger than this age, around the time he governed, he was not up to probably in the scale of governors in Nigeria, up to, let's say, the 7th or 8th governor that did well. His record in Anambra is there. He practically did not do. I don't want to be talking as if we are doing political campaign.
But Peter Obi is out there in the public space, Daniel. Peter Obi did exceptionally well in Abia State. In Anambra State, where he was governor.
Tell me exactly what he did.
Of course, he was able to look. Anambra State was already coming first in education. Anambra State had got better infrastructure when he came into power. Anambra State did not owe workers' salaries. It was able to pay pensions as well. All these are in the public space. So what other measures do you want to use?
And then there are plenty other measures. Infrastructure is what you use in gauging the prowess of a leader. Peter Obi did nothing infrastructure-wise in Anambra State. That's why Anambra, especially Onitsha, where the Onitsha market ought to have been the leading market in Africa, is still the way it is. Go and see the infrastructure there. See what Soludo is there with the sewage, with the road, and everything. He practically did nothing infrastructure-wise. Two,
no.
Education.
Missed something. There was Obiano in between there, so you cannot just jump the ship. During his time, and considering the exchange rate and what he had to work with, you remember that when he was asked to, rehabilitate the government house, and then the governor's lodge also, he saved up to 600 million naira from fictitious and corrupt budgets that was brought to him. He was able to tell you. Isn't that meaningful? Isn't this a man?
So you have moved away from.
Isn't it a man that you will see and say that this is a man that can fight corruption? If he can do it in Anambra State, he can do it for Nigeria.
Peter Obi will not fight corruption anywhere. He does not represent an anti-corruption cell, because go and ask him throughout his time as governor, where was he domiciling the money of that state? Talk about conflict of interest in a bank to which he was a chairman. And that money for the state.
As a matter of fact, his spokesperson, I spoke to him, and he told me that that was a campaign of calumny.
No, but this is a fact that is in the public. Everybody knows. The bank is called I think either Fidelity Bank or so, to which he was a chairman. That's the bank that had the custody of the money of Anambra during his time. So when you hear he said he saved money, it's a common logic. If that much money is kept in the bank, you know the turnover. When he say, I don't want to be paid, I don't want to be this, how much you are making out of the retention of the money of that state in your bank is much more than I don't want to take this. I say I don't want to go as if we're talking about we're preparing for that electionary. Peter Obi is not anything spectacular. The point I'm trying to say is that Peter Obi pry on what? The anger, the sentiment, and the bigotry of the people. Peter Obi does not have a clear-cut agenda. And I'm telling you this, I don't have anything against him. Most of his people are my friends.
He has the optics, he has the economics, he is smart, his calculations are on point, and he has not been found wanting in any of them.
Peter Obi, even in England, his company in England was almost closed because of one issue or the other. When Peter Obi became governor, he did not declare his asset. Later, when Premium Times did investigation and they caught him up, he admitted, he said he didn't know that there was any law that stopped that. Let's not talk about anti-corruption and Peter Obi, please. And then secondly, talking about whether he has a clear path. How do you know opposition? Opposition is an offering alternative. Since the past almost a year now that President Tinubu has been in government, Peter Obi has been interrogating policies. Not a single time has he profiled alternative policy other than to complain and rant and complain. That's not how opposition is done. Now, let me give you an example. Let's say removal of fuel subsidy. Let's say Peter Obi is disagreeing with the whole idea of the removal of subsidy. It is not to come and be building on the sentiment of Nigerians. It's to tell them exactly, in clear terms, what you would have done differently. The same thing with monetary policy. That's why he's having problem in Labour Party. Let me give you an example. When the National Treasurer also, they had that infight of financial misappropriety, and then they call a meeting where they say they declare accountability of what they spent. What they declared in that meeting, was it not what they raised in Nigeria? But are you not aware Peter Obi traveled around the world and was raising funds for this campaign? Have you not seen several video clips in US, in all the places where they say they'll raise money for him? Has he declared that? Let us not. I prefer a conversation around whether somebody has.
Yeah, we can have that another time. That's an internal party affair. But when I'm very curious about the former governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai. He's a well-loved man in northern Nigeria. Look at what he did.
That word you say is relative. It's relative.
Hold on. These are the things that he did. When he was minister in the FCT in Abuja, there has been no other minister of the FCT that has been able to match halfway what he accomplished. Look at the road networks, look at the town planning of Abuja, look at what he has taken back to Kaduna State, his state, to improve on. As a matter of fact, anyone who has been to Kaduna some 15 years back, go back to Kaduna now, you are very likely to get lost because of the developments that El-Rufai was able to bring to Kaduna State. If a man like that, who at some point before BWALA Tinubu became president, was asking, why would we have, he said it in Hausa, which means, how can we have old people like this and people want to allow him to run for president? Since the party, according to him, has insisted that BWALA Tinubu should be the consensus candidate for the party, so be it. If this man should come out in 2027, how would the dynamics play, Daniel?
Well, first of all, Governor El-Rufai is like a senior brother, and he's somebody I know. I don't have any record of him beefing with me, and so I don't have anything against him. When you talk about he's the most competent, or that is relative. There are people who will share a totally different view. For example, just yesterday, in the interview that Governor Sani, the man that succeeded him, had with Arise TV when they were interrogating him about schools in what is it called, in Kaduna, he said he inherited over 3,000 or 2,000 or something schools that are not fenced, and that this is what he's working hard to do. But was it not the same education that Governor El-Rufai focused on, that he was sacking teachers at the time? So it's relative. And I must admit, well, just like you said, when he was a minister in the FCT, he did well. I cannot deny that, and that he did well in Kaduna. In fact, I used to be one of the leading persons talking about El-Rufai is the future of the northern elite, because I like his intellectualism, but he also comes with a baggage. Baggage in the sense that a lot of people have seen him as a religious bigot, rightly or wrongly. That's the perception. You remember before his name was submitted for minister, that video that leaked out, that video led to the petition, which ended up not stopping him denied him the opportunity to be a minister in Nigeria. So you have to look at it from, broad-based point of view. He has every right to come out tomorrow and say he wants to run for president. He has every right. But the point, in fact, I forgot to come down to that, whether he is capable or his alliance, if true, with Peter Obi is capable of unseating President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I laugh. Do you know why I laugh? Because President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, unlike other politicians, he doesn't wait until something takes him unawares. You must know his political trajectory. He's somebody that forecasts and prepare for something well ahead of time. Most of the people he trained and developed that are doing well in politics today, that's how he raised them. Identify somebody's capacity and what the person is likely to be in terms of impact in the future, and invest in that person to rise. Look at the people he's giving opportunity to in his government. Lots of young people. Who would have thought that someone like that will look at that? So, and secondly, for you to be able to defeat President Tinubu, you have to come up with a plan different. You see, in 2023 election, Peter Obi has demonstrated by his campaign, but has come short of it, that anger is not enough to unseat a government. It is not enough to be angry or to feed into the anger of the people that were angry with the system. System has not been working. After that, you must go beyond that to prove that you have the capacity to unite the people around a common objective. So these individuals coming together, or even as a coalition, I want to believe it will be difficult to defeat President Tinubu. Do you know why? Now, those fundamentals of the economy that President Tinubu is introducing at the moment, and I can point at them, everybody is beginning to accept that. You can see that gradually we're coming to life. Before that time of election, most of this reform agenda he has established, they are coming to fruition. They are going to be very apparent. It is like when you plant seed. This is the planting stage. So people are not seeing the head of that seed or plant or whatever, and people are complaining. So it's beginning to bud here and there. By that election cycle, they would have been producing fruits. I give you an example. Naira 2 weeks ago was almost selling for dollar. Dollar was selling for about 1,700. Now it's 1,250. And people are struggling. People believe that the projection is between now and the next 2-3 weeks, it might come down to 900. These are possibilities. Secondly,
Daniel, even my apologies to just interject. Even with the falling naira against the falling dollar against the naira, the inflation rate for food is still at 37.2%, or is it 37.7%?
Right.
And the food prices are not coming down. This is the problem, Daniel.
So this is the idea.
Why would the party you support, the APC, why would you, some people call it, make derogatory statements such that you heat up the polity, you heat up the economy, such that becomes practically irreversible? Why would you take out fuel subsidy, for instance, when you know that this hardship will come? And now you're back putting this fuel subsidy back online.
I think it is appropriate to say the president you are supporting rather than your party APC, because I've not declared that I've officially joined. You understand?
Oh, okay,
but I support.
Okay.
But I
support
the
President Tinubu.
What? Yes, but I support President Tinubu and his administration 100%. And let me tell you this:
bring back fuel subsidy back into the country. I mean, this is a policy somersault.
No, it's not. You see, if you look at the IMF, and I've said that in several interviews, if you look at the IMF policy itself, which is what people are crying that you don't implement that, there is an angle of the implementation of IMF. You can check that in the World Bank website, where they talk about promoting strong country ownership. That concept of country ownership is like a protest application of the policy, that you don't take the policy and apply it hook, line, and sinker, because the case in Nigeria might be different from Ghana, Senegal, and the rest. All sizes are not the same. and cases, and you treat them on a case-by-case basis. So you apply policies that are compatible to the local realities. So when they remove those subsidies, and then we begin to see the impact that it is bringing, already revenue is generated well enough to subsidize in some areas. That is country ownership. And as a government, you must be happy to adopt. The government can never be perfect 100%, but government will be seen as an adaptable government. That means at every given point, you want to start a policy and you see that impact might be much. You say, okay, for today, these areas are the most essential. We can create a buffer here.
Wonder they say shall never end. Like this man is where belle first. After he abandoned Atiku Abubakar, I was so disappointed about him, honestly. He is even confused. He doesn't know whether he belongs to PDP or APC. And he is here talking ill about obedient movement as well as P2B. My people, 2027 never come. Even the last election that we did, all of us, they suffer right now. These people, they are not looking for solution to solve what Nigerians are facing right now. What they are after is to talk about 2027 election. They don't have Nigerian interests at heart, my people. They are only there for their selfish reason. Right now, everybody is talking about P2B. Like, is it only P2B that is interested to contest the election in 2027? Why are they having too much headache about P2B and obedient movement? My people, they know very well that obedient movement is a force and they hold them for neck. So as I make I bring this update to you guys, and I would love you guys to leave your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think about this video? And if today is your first time, my people, please don't forget to subscribe, turn on the post notification bell on, and also share my video. Yeah, I'll see you guys in my next one. Goodbye for now.